Hey everyone, it's Kelly, just checking in to see how you're doing. This is Wednesday. It's a beautiful Wednesday, first Wednesday of June, my birthday month. Just a reminder, because I'm excited about the month. So if you don't know me, I'm Kelly with Kelly Cameron Coaching. I work with parents and couples to break those patterns of dysfunction. So we all grew up with different patterns of relationship and behavior. And then you put two people together in a household and they're both from different backgrounds and different patterns of behaviors and dysfunctions. And then you kind of meld all that together. And a lot of times we end up with conflict, challenge, chaos. So that's who I help, couples and parents that are dealing with that conflict, that challenge, that chaos, and they really just want some peace and happy in their lives. And they don't want to pass it on to their kids. And so today we're going to talk about fighting fair, how to fight fair. And so the first rule of Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club. Just kidding. We're not talking about Fight Club, but we are going to talk about how to fight fair. And the first thing is the word fight. Sometimes people don't like that word, and there's like a spectrum of disagreements, conflict, arguing, it could be whatever you call it. And I've worked with couples that have, serious fights, like actual knockdown, drag out fights. And then I work with couples that have just light disagreements but it feels uncomfortable to them. So it's having those uncomfortable conversations. And that is really the key to fighting fair, is having those uncomfortable conversations and doing it in a loving, grounded way. So we're going to talk about that. So a little bit on my background, I've been on the full spectrum. So I've been in a relationship where we prided ourselves on not ever fighting. We didn't have disagreements. We looked like the perfect couple. But as we all know, this is real life. We are human. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be disagreements. But how we handled it, being younger and naive and just hopeful that everything is going to turn out, but we would just brush it under the rug. Wait a couple of days, it will all blow over and everything's fine and you just drive on. Well, at some point in a relationship like that, there's going to be something really big that you can't just brush under the rug. And that's essentially what happened. And we didn't have the skills to talk to each other, to have those difficult conversations, because we didn't have that foundation and that history of all those difficult conversations leading up to big stuff. So I don't recommend that. And then kind of my MO used to be, okay, well, that didn't work. So let me go 180 degrees the other way. And I was in a relationship with a very high conflict person. And I'm introverted, I'm really calm, and that just sent me over the edge. I am not a high conflict person. I don't like that toxic conflict. I don't find it productive. I don't find it meaningful. And my nerve endings were raw, like all the time. And that, sends you into a whole nother host of issues of actual physical issues and not feeling well, and long story there. So I don't recommend that either. What about something in the middle? So middle ground is good, kind of moderation. So here are some ideas for how to fight fair. First of all, being grounded, giving yourself some space, taking a breath, giving each other some space before you launch into it. Finding a time that you can mutually agree on to discuss it calmly. There doesn't have to be, all the fireworks and the high conflict. So breathing is important. Asking questions, going for clarification, not making assumptions. Like we each come from a place of our own experience, our own upbringing, our own patterns, and our own perspective, which is different than the person that we're in conflict with or that we're going to have a an uncomfortable conversation with. They have their own patterns and experiences and perspective. So when we assume something about the other person, we're assuming from our own perspective and not theirs. And so a lot of times that assumption is not correct. So asking clarifying questions like, what did you mean by that? Or tell me about this, and so that I can have more understanding. Because really, when it all comes down to it, you love this person. Because if you didn't love this person, you wouldn't care enough to have an uncomfortable conversation. So you love this person. Let's lead with love. Let's ask those clarifying questions. Excuse me. And own your feelings, own your own feelings and your own actions. We're not putting the blame on the other person. We're using I statements like, I feel, I did this, I don't understand. And so that helps to not put the other person on edge and put the other person on defense. If we're using statements like, you always or you never, that person is shutting down. They're going to be on the defensive, and you're not going to have a calm conversation. So let me look at my notes here. That's pretty much it. Those are like the basics of fighting fair and calmly. That's healthy boundaries, healthy kind of moderation, not sweeping it under the rug, not high conflict and just for the sake of having conflict, but actually getting to the root of issues, having a calm conversation, having a productive conversation to move you forward and move the relationship forward. I highly recommend it. If you have any questions or any thoughts or any struggles on having those difficult, uncomfortable conversations, book a call. Private message me. Let's talk about this. It's really, really important to be comfortable having those conversations because life is life. I mean, we're never going to have everything perfect. There are going to be bumps in the road. And so how do you handle those? And then how do you model that for your children? What are they taking away? Because as adults, we are kind of programmed for how our parents and families dealt with conflict. If there was high conflict, maybe you don't do conflict at all. Or if there was low conflict and you didn't see how things were resolved, you don't have a clue. So we're also passing that on to our children, which is really important to think about. So again, if this resonates with you, or if there's anybody that you know that could use this information, please share with them, like, comment. I always appreciate that. And so until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Take care.